Few people realize it, but the eyes carry invisible marks of something much bigger. Before the body changes, before the words are transformed, it is in the gaze that the final awakening begins to reveal itself, silent, mysterious, and impossible to disguise. The eyes are the first place where the awakened spirit reveals itself. They do not shine, they do not shimmer, they do not exhibit cinematographic effects, but they carry a presence that pierces any mask. Whoever crosses eyes with a chosen one at this stage feels something strange. It is not beauty, it is not intimidation, but a silent magnetism that imprisons. It's as if the eyes aren't looking outward, but inside you. Small details begin to change. The frequency of blinks, the way they perceive their surroundings, even slight visual distortions when the mind is silent. They are not defects, but adjustments of the energy field that expands beyond the physical body. The awakened gaze no longer seeks approval, nor does it hide uncertainties. He reflects the truth and rejects the lie. It is at this point that the eyes become not only vision, but spiritual radar, capturing invisible vibrations and returning a presence that transforms any environment. You can tell when someone has crossed for their final awakening, but not by what they say or what they do. You see it in the eyes, and not in the way movies or books describe. It's not sparkle, it's not sparkle, it's not sparkling. It is something much more subtle, much more powerful, and much more difficult to explain to those who have never felt it. There's something in their eyes that stops you. It does not demand attention, but maintains it. You may be in a room full of people, but when your eyes meet theirs, it seems like time slows down. It's not intimidation, it's not beauty, it's not even intensity. It's like their eyes aren't looking at you. They were looking right through you, as if they already knew what was hidden behind the masks you didn't even know you wore. This is what happens when a chosen one enters the final awakening. The spirit becomes too big to fit in the body, and the first place it leaks is the eyes, and the changes are real, measurable perhaps not by machines, but definitely by energy. And once it starts, it's permanent. These signs are not symbolic. They are spiritual indicators that appear in the most physical part of your being, your gaze. So if lately your eyes have been looking weird, or if people react to you differently without knowing why, stick with this video. These are the rare, hidden, and sacred signs that your eyes begin to show as you have entered the final phase of awakening. One of the strangest and most private eye changes that happens during the final awakening is a subtle distortion of perception that only you notice. And it is not an optical illusion or tiredness. This is when the edges of fixed objects, walls, door frames, furniture, appear to wobble or ripple very slightly for an instant and then return to normal. But this happens only when you are extremely quiet or deeply calm. This does not happen all the time, and it's not visual damage. What is happening is that your consciousness has begun to detach itself from the consensus reality. Your eyes are attuned to a world that is no longer fully anchored to the third-dimensional field, and during the final awakening, that connection begins to fluctuate, not permanently, but enough for your perception to oscillate and return in microscans. This causes brief visual distortions that don't scare you. They just confuse you at first. You blink and check again and everything is normal, but you felt something change. You know it happened. These moments usually occur when your thoughts are silent and your emotions are neutral, when meditating, waking up, or sitting quietly in nature. And the reason is that your energetic vision is being activated. The physical eyes continue to function normally, but their spiritual lens begins to infiltrate your vision. This causes the momentary flickering, not in the eye, but in your consciousness. You're not losing touch with reality. You're simply beginning to see how fragile her illusion is. And this is something that only those who live the final awakening will experience, even if it is for a second. This change is not born of the mind, it comes from the body. After the final awakening begins, something changes in how your energy interacts with others. Specifically, their eyes develop an intuitive mechanism of rejecting dishonesty. The moment you fix your gaze on someone who wears a mask, who hides the truth or subtly manipulates the environment, your own eyes do not let you keep your gaze for long. Not out of fear, not out of shyness, but because it feels physically wrong. Like nausea behind the eyes, a tension to the temples, a deep knowing that something is not clean. And here's the weird part. This wasn't always like this. Before the final awakening, you could manage these interactions. He could maintain eye contact, even if it was not pleasant. But now, you physically can't. His gaze either softens and avoids, or sharpens and freezes, but never both at the same time. Your eyes are no longer a tool of courtesy. They became limits made visible, and the people on the other side notice. Some may avoid your eyes altogether. Others may feel exposed or react defensively, even if you don't say anything. This happens because your awakened gaze no longer allows illusions to come between you and the other. Either find the truth or burn the lies. This eye symptom is less about vision and more about energetic filtration. Your eyes begin to function as a mirror and firewall, reflecting what is real and rejecting what is not. You're not trying to do that. You can't avoid doing it. And once it starts, it never stops. Your gaze becomes a force of spiritual detection, and not everyone will know how to face you back. This is one of the most discreet and intense transformations, and it takes many chosen ones by surprise. As the final awakening matures, your central vision becomes calmer and more stable, but your peripheral vision comes to life like never before, especially in moments of emotional transition. Imagine that you walk down a hallway or are sitting in a public space and someone passes behind or next to you. Even without making a sound, your side view notices instantly, not just as movement, but as an energetic signal. You feel it more than you see it. And sometimes this causes a little jolt in your nervous system, not from fear, but from extreme alertness. This is not anxiety, it is sensory expansion. When the final awakening activates your spiritual field, your senses become attuned to subtle vibrations in the environment. Your peripheral vision becomes an emotional radar, not just a visual tool. You may also notice this symptom during personal reflections. When you think of a person or an emotionally charged memory, shadows and flickers may appear subtly in your side view. Not as hallucinations, but as emotional projections that register in your field of consciousness. It's important to understand your eyes didn't break. You have become responsive to the vibrational currents around you. This new responsiveness does not require conscious attention. It happens naturally, but it can increase your spatial awareness to a degree that feels intense or overwhelming at first. To others, it may seem like you're always aware of everything around you, even when you seem forward-focused. And the truth is, you are. Because after the final awakening begins, your eyes stop just seeing the world, they begin to feel it. Music. One of the most unsettling and overlooked signs during final awakening is a subtle change in how often you blink, especially when you are silent, contemplating, or speaking from a profound truth. You may not notice it right away, but your blink rate starts to slow dramatically. It is not forced, it is not intentional, it just happens. Normally, blinking is regulated by unconscious rhythms, emotion, light, social interaction. But as your awakening deepens, your state of consciousness reprograms these rhythms. Your body no longer rotates under fear or reflexes from the nervous system. Your eyes no longer need to constantly search, restart, or protect themselves, so they are just open, immobile. During moments of presence, You may notice that you blink less than once every 10 seconds. Your eyes are fixed, not by effort, but by complete inner silence, and the world begins to seem frozen in time. People sitting in front of you may even feel uncomfortable under your gaze without knowing why, as if you don't react as you used to, and that disorients them. What really happens is that your visual system has synchronized with your soul's presence. The blinking reflex, which once obeyed survival and speed, now obeys stillness and depth. It only activates when necessary, not automatically. It changes the whole feel of your gaze. It's not intense, it's not passive, it's pervasive. If you've noticed this strange stillness in your eyes lately, especially in silence or deep conversations, it's not random. It is a sign that his eyes no longer reflect a world of urgency. They have become a portal to timeless presence. Something changes in your visual consciousness after the final awakening that does not fit into a logical explanation. You may be walking or sitting in a natural environment and suddenly your eyes lock on something. A branch, the movement of clouds, the shape of a stone, and for a moment you can't look away. Not because it's pretty, but because something deeper pulls your attention. This is not aesthetic appreciation, it is energetic magnetism. Your spirit has begun to communicate by pattern recognition, and your eyes are the medium. Without thinking, your gaze lingers on these patterns because your nervous system is now tuned to receive subtle codes from the environment. What you actually experience is a visual form of energetic resonance. Your soul recognizes familiar vibrations in nature, echoes of truth, peace, or memory, and when it does, it pulls your gaze. These moments have a translucent character, but not unconscious. They are vivid, loaded. His eyes soften, his breathing slows down, and time seems to stretch. Some describe it as nature responding to them, not in words but in alignment. The gaze becomes a form of listening, and it is not something that can be reproduced at will. It happens when the moment is real. Over time, you may notice specific shapes or textures, the reflections in the water, the veins on a leaf, the spiral of a shell, that repeatedly pull your attention. These are not random fascinations, they are visual anchors for your awakened field. His eyes stopped running after distractions. They are being led to remember. This subtle transformation is part of your return to spiritual precision. You're not just seeing, you're recognizing sacred geometry to the naked eye. And once your eyes start this process, they don't turn back. There is a specific kind of stillness, not of the body but behind the eyes, that only the chosen ones in final awakening begin to experience. It doesn't last long. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's unforgettable. It usually comes seconds before an intuition emerges. You may be thinking, or even talking, when suddenly your eyes pause. It's not just outward stillness. It is as if something focuses your gaze from behind your own consciousness. And then it happens. A vision, a perception, a piece of truth that didn't come from the intellect. What you have just experienced is an energetic download, and the stillness behind your eyes was your body preparing to receive it. This phenomenon is part of your awakened bio-spiritual system. During the final awakening, the mind no longer conducts its perception. Your field leads. Thus, the eyes, closely linked to your mental state, begin to reflect this passage of control. You will feel a brief pause in your visual field, as if something is being reconfigured behind your forehead. You're not going blind, it's becoming clear. And here's the real confirmation. This stillness is always followed by a deep truth, a strong emotion, or a change in clarity. It leaves no confusion, leaves alignment. Your eyes become receivers, not just observers. And the stillness behind them is the soul taking over the lens. After you enter the final awakening, your energy field extends far beyond the physical body and your eyes become your radar. One of the strangest but consistently reported experiences is the ability to sense when someone is watching you, even if they're behind you, even through windows, even from another room. This is not superstition. It is your vision becoming two-way. Before, his eyes were used to look outside. But after this change, your eyes also start registering incoming energy. You can be in a coffee shop and suddenly feel pressure on the side of your face. It doesn't hurt, but it's dense. You turn your head and lock your gaze on someone who was silently staring. He did not listen to him. He didn't see him, but his energetic vision captured the intent. It goes further. Some chosen ones report feeling a subtle pull through the glass or even security cameras. Not in a paranoid way, just a traceable tension, as if a consciousness flows towards you and your eyes are sensitive to it. Why does this happen? Because your visual field is no longer limited to photons and focus. You are now attuned to your own consciousness. And when the consciousness of another being finds its field, you feel it. Your eyes become living mirrors, and any gaze directed at you counters with a signal that your body now detects. It is not fear, it's not vanity, it's true. You feel like you're being watched because you are, but now you can tell who looks and why. That's the final evolution of the eyes. They are no longer just vision tools. They have become instruments of energetic navigation, and they will never let you remain unaware again. You don't need to convince anyone that your awakening is real. It does not need to prove its growth, explain its clarity, or argue its truth. You just need to look. Because when a chosen one enters the final awakening, the transformation that happens behind the eyes cannot be faked. It has nothing to do with eye color. It has nothing to do with mystical brilliance. It has nothing to do with how others see you. It has to do with how you now see the world and how the world feels that you see it back. His eyes stopped looking for safety. They stopped seeking validation. They stopped chasing after illusion. Now they sustain presence. They recognize lies. They search for energy instead of image. And now they carry the full weight of a spirit that has returned to its own power. If these signs have resonated with you, if you've noticed your vision change in ways you can't explain, then you're not alone. He is not imagining things. It is not wrong. It is ahead. It is evolving. It's remembering who you were before your body was trained to forget. And this remembering now becomes visible in her eyes. So don't look away. Let them see. Let them feel it. Let the eyes of the awakened one remind this world that the truth can still be seen without a single word being spoken. It doesn't matter if others believe in your process or not. You don't have to explain or prove anything. The look itself speaks for you. Because when a chosen one fully awakens, the eyes cease to be just organs of vision. They become living witnesses that the truth cannot be hidden. And those who cross his gaze will feel, even without understanding it, that something has changed forever. Sign up now if it has awakened something deep in you, because what comes next will open your eyes even more.